So after a long wait, the new Surface Pro 11s are here. Now we have got the Surface Pro 11 in the sapphire colour, and we've also bought the ridiculously expensive Flex Surface keyboard. Now this one is £439 for the keyboard and pen in the UK, which is crazy. And the Surface Pro, we bought the Elite version, which is £1,549 in the UK, but comes with the OLED screen. Now you can get the base model, which is just the Surface X Plus, and that one starts at £1,049 in the UK. But we wanted to go all out and really see what these are all about. So let's get it unboxed and start testing it. Wow, that looks incredible. Hopefully you can see that on the top cam. This is obviously the sapphire colour. That does look really beautiful. That looks really good. Okay, feels nice and light. Now, we're going to be doing videos all this week. So if you're not subscribed already, please make sure you do so, because there's going to be a lot of content with these new laptops. Right, what else is in the box? We have little guides, safety information, no idea. And we have the power cable, obviously I'm in the UK, and the sort of standard Surface brick that we've been using with the magnetic charger. I do really like the fact that we still get a magnetic charger. Now you can also charge this via the sort of USB 4 ports, but when I'm sitting on a desk, I like to just pop one of these in, nice and easy to connect, and then it obviously then pops off if someone knocks your cable. Nothing else is in the box, so quite bare bones. That to one side. Now let's also, whilst we're here, unbox this Flex keyboard. Now there are cheaper versions of the keyboard available. This one, as I say, is £439 in the UK, and I bought it in the sapphire colour to match this model. You do get the pen with it, but it's still incredibly expensive, though not quite Apple pricing. Now the advantage of this one with the expensive model is you get a haptic touchpad rather than a sort of a springboard touchpad. So that is why you're paying so much with these. And we will test that out, and we'll also be comparing against the original type cover to see whether this one is worthwhile buying. So as always, we've got the magnetic pogo pins, so we can just connect it very easily with your Surface devices. Let's take this cover off the screen. There we go. Right. Let's fire it up. So here we go. We can start booting it up, and then we'll set up Windows. Now before we do, whilst we're just waiting for this to start booting, Surface Pro, we do have the power button on the top left, and then the volume rocker, just like the Pro 9 we reviewed last year. We have the magnetic connector on one side. And here you can see we've got the two USB-C or USB 4 ports for your connectivity.
To set up your device using a screen reader, turn on narrator by pressing Windows and Control and Enter. For more accessibility features, press Windows and U, or select the access.
Let's turn that down for a sec. And on the rear, you can see we've got the rear camera, as well as obviously the front-facing camera with IR, which we'll check in a minute. The beautiful kickstand that you always get with Surface devices. Now, as per the Surface 9, we do get the removable SSD hatch here, so you can change the SSD in the future, and we will look at that one in an upcoming video. But sadly, as per the 7 Plus, I think was the last version, there is no micro SD card slot that you used to get underneath. So now we've had a quick look around. I'm just going to quickly pause this, set it up, and we'll start testing it and come back. Okay, so we are now up and running. It's the usual Windows setup process, whether you're on ARM or x86, and I had the usual update of the OS the second I started, so it did take me a little while to get through that, but we don't have the fastest internet here. But now I'm up and running. First thing I want to talk about is this OLED display, and this screen is absolutely phenomenal. Now, we all know OLED looks great, but having used Surfaces right back from the very first Surface Pro 1, and my daily use with my Surfaces at the moment is my 8, which I've absolutely loved. I still use a lot. This OLED is a game changer. It's so beautiful, and it is still particularly bright, even though it's an OLED, 120 Hertz, and it just feels so fluid and looks so nice. And when setting this Surface Pro 11 up against the Surface Laptop 7, which is the standard IPS panel, I just kept thinking, wow, this Surface Laptop panel is really washed out. And I just realised it's just obviously using the OLED next to that Surface laptop just shows you how good the OLED looks. Now it has got that 120 Hz high refresh display, which does feel very snappy and responsive. That dynamically changes from 30 up to 120. You can disable that and just leave it at 60 or 120 if you wish, but I have no problem so far leaving it on the dynamic switching. Now, as I mentioned, I've got the Sapphire Blue model. You can also get it in the traditional sort of platinum black, and you've got the new June colour. They've got rid of the green, but particularly this blue looks incredible. I've forgotten how good the blue looks because I've been using the platinum for the last year. Another thing that's changed, obviously we've bought the incredibly expensive £430 type cover. We've now got the haptic trackpad, which you can click anywhere on. So if you can see, I can literally click anywhere on this trackpad and it works perfectly, just like you get with the MacBooks, and some of the Windows like Dell XPSs have had this for a little while now. But this is a very, very expensive type cover at £430 with the pen in the UK, and that's mostly because they've now added this feature. When we compare it to the older style type cover, which had this sort of springboard, you can literally only click at the bottom. This is lovely being able to click everywhere, but I don't know if I want to spend a couple £100 more just to get this feature. Another thing that's changed this year, as you notice when you lift up the type cover and it clips in, you still have access to the pen. So that's really quite handy. Whether you buy, I believe, this one or the slightly cheaper model of this without the haptic touchpad, it's nice and easy to then get the pen out and start using it. So I do like that feature. Because one of the things that annoyed me with the old version, let's just quickly rip this one off. When you obviously push this cover up, you've lost that pen. It's now hidden behind. So when you want to use the pen, if you're using the pen or pencil a lot, you've got to constantly bring this down, grab the pencil, then pop it back up to the usual incline. I know it's only first world problems, but it is quite annoying when you're doing this a lot. So I do like the new feature, but that obviously then does bring that keyboard down a touch to allow for that little pen well above the keyboard itself. Another thing that is quite useful is the fact that the older type covers from the Pro 8, 9 and 10 for business do work with this 11, and guess vice versa. I will test that. So it is nice if you've got an old Surface cover or charger or anything else, it's still going to work. With regards to the keyboard, it's the usual typing experience that you expect from a type cover. It feels very solid, there's not a lot of bounce. I am really happy typing away on this keyboard using it. Again, with a Surface Pro, because of the kickstand and the way it works, on a desk they work amazingly, on your lap they're never quite as good, but sitting at a desk using this keyboard at its normal incline feels great, just like the previous Surface Pros. Testing the speakers, just popping on some copyright music within YouTube. 50% volume. As with the usual Surface Pros, they sound very good. The sound is firing directly from the two small speakers either side of the screen, so it is projected towards you. So when you're using the Surface Pro, it does feel really good. So let's whack this up a little bit so you can see how loud they get. Let's try 80%. So for like a little two-in-one, the speakers have always been excellent on the Surface line, and as usual, I am impressed with these. So overall, as with the usual Surface Pros, you're getting a solid package when you're getting the Surface Pro X. But just quickly talking about performance now, and obviously it's early days with this new ARM range of chips. I didn't bother with the Surface Pro X last year because I knew that the ARM performance wasn't going to be great, but this has really changed this year. Now we've started off, we've ran a couple of benchmarks using the actual Geekbench 6, which is native ARM, and it runs really well on this chip. We're getting a single core score of 22,098 out the box and a multi-core score of 12,993. And that's with the recommended power plan. So that's pretty impressive, especially the single core score, which makes the system feel incredibly snappy. Now I did then change it to the best performance power plan, and it gave me a really nice boost. So the single core went up to 2733 and the actual multi-core score was 14,019. So these are some really excellent scores for an ARM-based chip for Windows. So really impressive there. I think we're going to be able to do a lot of work on these machines. Looking at the graphics score in the recommended, we got 19,992, which is okay. I'm going to start doing a bit more graphics testing over the next few days and then come back with a bit more of an opinion. I was hoping for slightly better scores than that, but we're going to have to see how that performs when we're testing some games later on. Now, when it came to apps that aren't ARM ready, I did run Cinebench R23. Now, this is a really good torture test that runs for 10 minutes and maxes out the cores. Now, this is the Elite, so the 12-core version, and we scored 8,574. Now, that doesn't sound amazing, but this is running on x86 and then being obviously emulated over to ARM. So you're going to lose a fair amount of performance doing that. So I'm actually not that unimpressed with that score. I'm hoping we're going to get the Cinebench R24 and get the ARM version so we can actually then properly benchmark this machine for longer CPU benchmarks and see how it runs in its native ARM. But 8,574 emulated is a very good score. Now, as always, above the screen, we get the front-facing cam. It looks like this. Now, this is a test of the webcam and the microphones on the new Surface Pro 11 with Snapdragon Elite. Again, because it is obviously, we've got an AI chip, we do have automatic framing. So as I move around, it should frame in on me. And this certainly feels faster than when I was using the XPS range, which had the Intel with the NPU. So far, that's not too bad. We also have the eye contact mode. So if I'm looking over there, let's see what this looks like. I'm looking to the right. Hopefully my eyes are now looking at the center on the screen. That's the actual eye contact mode. And we also do have the background effects. This is the standard blur. And we also get the portrait blur. Now, I do quite like these. So if you're in a sort of a messy environment and you're on a conference call, you can quickly pop one of these on and just blur out your background. Works very well and it gives you good separation. So overall, hopefully you'll be pretty impressed. I certainly am. Let me know in the comment section down below. And we do also get the Windows IR facial recognition, which has been absolutely solid, logging me in every time. So this year, I think, honestly, could be the year of the ARM, especially for laptops and tablets. It's lovely to see now that we're starting to get some amazing ARM performance. Because another thing that I haven't really mentioned on so far is even when I was running the Geekbench 6 performance benchmarks, the fan didn't even kick in. And it was only when running the Cinebench R23 10-minute test when the fan on this 2-in-1 actually kicked in. Now that's really impressive and it's very much like the Apple Silicon Max. Now, over the course of this week, we'll be covering a lot of content on both the Surface Pro 2-in-1 and the laptop, plus we've got the Book 4 from Samsung coming in, and we will be comparing it against both x86 and against Apple Silicon. So if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you do so because there could be a lot more content coming soon. And as always, thanks for watching.